I stood frozen outside room 347 at the Grand Park Hotel, my hand trembling as I held the surprise birthday cake I'd bought from Sarah's favorite bakery. My heart was beating so hard I could hear it in my ears. Through the door, I heard sounds that made my stomach twist into knots. Laughter, a man's deep voice, then Sarah's voice, the one I'd loved for 7 years, saying words I never thought I'd hear her say to anyone but me. "You make me feel so alive, David." My whole body felt cold and hot at the same time. The cake box slipped from my fingers and hit the carpeted floor with a soft thud. I wanted to burst through that door. I wanted to run away. I wanted to wake up from this nightmare. But I just stood there, listening to my entire world fall apart behind that wooden door, wondering how everything I thought I knew could be so terribly, horribly wrong. But before we continue, take a moment to tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Lagos, Nairobi, Accra, London, Chicago, Kingston, Johannesburg. Don't scroll. Don't blink. Stay until the end of this story. Let me take you back to where this all started, 3 days before that terrible moment in the hotel hallway. It was a sunny Tuesday morning, and I was making pancakes in our kitchen. Sarah came downstairs wearing her black business suit, the one she always wore for important meetings. Her blonde hair was pulled back in a neat ponytail, and she was checking her phone with a worried look on her face. "Morning, beautiful," I said, flipping a pancake high in the air and catching it perfectly in the pan. "Tada! Still got it." Sarah looked up and gave me a small smile, but it didn't reach her eyes like it usually did. "Morning, Tom. Those smell good, but I can't eat. My stomach is doing flips. This Chicago trip is really important." I walked over and wrapped my arms around her waist. "You're going to be amazing. You always are. That's why they made you senior account manager." She hugged me back, but something felt different. Her hug was quick, like she was in a hurry to let go. "Thanks, honey. I really need this deal to work out. The company is counting on me." "When do you leave?" I asked, going back to the stove to save a pancake from burning. "Tomorrow morning. First flight out. I'll be gone until Saturday. For whole days." She said it in a way that sounded almost relieved, which made a tiny uncomfortable feeling start in my chest. But I pushed it away. Sarah loved her job. Of course she was excited about an important business trip. "I'm going to miss you so much," I told her, putting pancakes on a plate. "The house always feels too quiet when you're gone." "I'll miss you too," she said. But she was looking at her phone again, typing quickly. Her fingers moved fast across the screen, and a small smile appeared on her face as she read something. "Sorry, just work stuff. They're already sending me messages about the presentation." I nodded, but that uncomfortable feeling in my chest got a little bigger. "Want to have a nice dinner tonight before you go? I can make your favorite pasta." "Actually, I have to work late tonight to prepare everything. I'll probably just grab something at the office." She grabbed her bag and keys. "I really have to run now. Love you." She blew me a kiss and rushed out the door before I could even say I love you back. I stood there in the kitchen, looking at the pancakes I'd made, feeling strangely lonely even though she'd only just left. The next morning, I woke up early to say goodbye, but Sarah was already gone. There was just a note on the pillow. "Didn't want to wake you. See you Saturday. S." Not even love, Sarah. Just S. I tried to shake off the weird feeling and went to work at the car repair shop I owned with my best friend, Marcus. All day I kept thinking about Sarah. Something felt off, but I couldn't figure out what. She'd been on business trips before. Why did this one feel different? That evening I called her hotel room. The phone rang and rang, but she didn't answer. I tried her cell phone next. "Hello." She sounded out of breath when she finally picked up. "Hey, sweetheart. Just wanted to make sure you got there safely. How was the flight?" "Oh, Tom. Yes, the flight was fine. Listen, I'm in the middle of a really important dinner meeting right now. Can I call you back later?" In the background, I heard music and laughter. It didn't sound like a business dinner. It sounded like a party. "Sure, no problem. I just miss you and wanted to hear your voice." "Miss you too. Gotta go. Bye." She hung up quickly. I sat on our couch, staring at my phone. Something felt wrong. Really wrong. Sarah always had time to talk to me, even when she was busy. And she definitely would have called me herself to let me know she arrived safely. She always did. I tried to watch TV, but I couldn't focus. I tried to read a book, but I kept reading the same page over and over. Finally, I called Marcus. "Dude, it's 10 o'clock at night. This better be good." Marcus answered, yawning. "Do you think Sarah's acting weird?" I asked him. There was a pause. "Weird how?" "I don't know. Just different. Distant. She barely said goodbye before her trip. She didn't call to say she landed. And when I called her, she rushed me off the phone." Marcus was quiet for a moment. "Look, man. She's probably just stressed about work. You know how she gets with these big deals." Yeah, you're probably right. But," Marcus said slowly. "But what? When was the last time you guys did something fun together? Like really fun. Not just dinner and TV." I thought about it. I don't know. It's been a few weeks. Maybe a month. Maybe she just needs to know you're thinking about her. Do something romantic. Surprise her." After I hung up with Marcus, an idea started forming in my mind. Sarah's birthday was on Friday. I'd been planning to celebrate when she got home on Saturday. But what if I didn't wait? What if I surprised her in Chicago? I could show up at her hotel with flowers and her favorite cake from Bruno's bakery. We could have a romantic dinner, just the two of us. It would be just like when we were dating, when I used to surprise her all the time. The more I thought about it, the more excited I got. This would fix everything. I'd remind her why we fell in love in the first place. I couldn't sleep that night, thinking about the surprise. The next morning, I was at work bright and early, telling Marcus my plan. "So you're just going to show up? Unannounced?" Marcus asked, looking uncertain as he wiped grease off his hands. "Yes, it'll be romantic. Or it could be weird, man. What if she's in an important meeting? Then I'll wait. Marcus, I need to do this. Something feels off between us, and I want to fix it." Marcus shrugged. "All right, but text me and let me know how it goes. I'll cover the shop while you're gone." I spent the whole day planning. I booked a last-minute flight for Thursday evening. I'd arrive in Chicago around 9 o'clock at night. I called Sarah's office and sweet-talked her assistant, Jenny, into telling me which hotel Sarah was staying at. "The Grand Park Hotel," Jenny told me. "But I really shouldn't be telling you this, Tom. It's a surprise for her birthday, Jenny. You're helping me be a good husband." Jenny laughed. "Well, when you put it that way, she's in room 347. But seriously, don't tell her I told you." Everything was falling into place perfectly. Thursday morning, I went to Bruno's bakery and ordered Sarah's favorite cake. Chocolate with raspberry filling and cream cheese frosting. "Put 'Happy Birthday to my beautiful wife' on it," I told Bruno, who owned the bakery and knew us well. "Tom, my friend, you are a good husband," Bruno said, patting me on the back. "Sarah is a lucky woman." I sure hoped she felt that way. Thursday evening, I was on the plane to Chicago, holding the cake box carefully on my lap. The flight attendant had let me bring it on board when I explained it was for my wife's birthday. I was so excited I could barely sit still. I kept imagining the look on Sarah's face when she opened the hotel room door and saw me standing there. She'd probably scream with happiness. She might even cry. We'd laugh about how I'd fooled her completely. The plane landed at 8:45. I grabbed a taxi to the Grand Park Hotel and walked through the fancy lobby with my overnight bag on one shoulder and the cake box in my hands. The hotel was beautiful, with tall ceilings, crystal chandeliers, and soft piano music playing somewhere. I walked to the elevator, pressed the button for the third floor, and felt my heart beating with excitement. This was it. This was going to be perfect. The elevator dinged and the doors opened. I walked down the carpeted hallway, looking at room numbers. 341, 343, 345, 347. I stood in front of the door, took a deep breath, and lifted my hand to knock. That's when I heard it. Laughter. But not just Sarah's laughter. A man's laugh too, deep and loud. I froze, my hand still raised to knock. "You're so funny, David," I heard Sarah say through the door. Her voice sounded happy, relaxed, the way she used to sound with me. "Not as funny as you are beautiful," a man's voice replied. My hand dropped to my side. Who was David? What was he doing in my wife's hotel room at 9 o'clock at night? My brain tried to come up with innocent explanations. Maybe David was her boss. Maybe they were working late. Maybe there were other people in there too, other coworkers having a meeting. But then I heard Sarah laugh again, and it wasn't her professional laugh. It was her real laugh, her happy laugh, her intimate laugh. "I can't believe we have 3 more days together," Sarah said. "This has been the best week of my life." "It's only going to get better," David replied. "I have so many plans for us." The cake box felt heavy in my hands. My arms started to shake. "I should feel guilty," Sarah said, and my heart jumped. Yes, she did feel guilty. Maybe this wasn't what it sounded like, but I don't. "Tom is a good man, but he's so boring, David. Every day is the same. He makes pancakes, fixes cars, comes home, watches TV. That's it. That's our whole life." The words hit me like punches to the stomach. Boring? I was boring? "You deserve more than boring," David said. "You deserve excitement, passion, adventure." "I know," Sarah said quietly. "I've known for a long time. I just didn't know how to change things. Until I met you." "When are you going to tell him?" David asked. There was a long pause. "Soon. Promise. I just need to find the right time. He's going to be so hurt." "We don't have to hide forever, Sarah. I want the world to know you're mine." "I want that too," Sarah said. "More than anything." I heard movement inside the room. Footsteps getting closer to the door. Panic shot through me. I couldn't let them see me. I couldn't let them know I was here. Not yet. My mind was too confused, too full of pain and shock and anger. I needed time to think, to process, to understand. I backed away from the door quickly and quietly, my heart pounding so hard I thought it might explode. I made it to the corner near the ice machine just as I heard the door to room 347 start to open. I pressed myself against the wall, hidden in the shadows, still holding that stupid birthday cake that had cost me $65. Through the gap, I saw a man step out into the hallway. He was tall, maybe 6 feet, with dark hair styled perfectly. He wore an expensive-looking suit, the kind that cost more than I made in a month. He turned back toward the room with a huge smile on his face. "Good night, beautiful," he said. "See you tomorrow morning for breakfast?" "Can't wait." Sarah's voice came from inside the room. "Sweet dreams, David." "All my dreams are about you now," he said. I watched him walk down the hallway toward the elevator, whistling happily. He pressed the elevator button and waited, checking his phone. When the elevator doors opened, he stepped inside and was gone. I stood there in the shadows by the ice machine, shaking all over. The cake box slipped from my numb fingers and hit the floor. I didn't even try to catch it. My wife was cheating on me. Sarah, who I'd been with for 7 years. Sarah, who I'd married in front of all our friends and family. Sarah, who promised to love me forever, in good times and bad. She was cheating on me with some man named David, and she thought I was boring. I sank down onto the floor, my back against the wall, staring at the cake box. Through the clear plastic window on top, I could see the words Bruno had written in perfect blue frosting. "Happy birthday to my beautiful wife." I wanted to cry. I wanted to scream. I wanted to pound on that door and demand answers. But mostly I just felt numb, empty, like someone had reached inside my chest and pulled out everything that mattered. How long had this been going on? Who was David? How could I have been so blind? All those late nights working at the office. All those times she seemed distracted when I talked to her. All those moments when she pulled away from my hugs a little too quickly. The signs had been there. I just hadn't wanted to see them. I don't know how long I sat there on that hotel hallway floor. Could have been 5 minutes or 50. Time felt strange, like it was moving too fast and too slow at the same time. Finally, I forced myself to stand up. My legs felt weak and shaky. I left the cake box on the floor where it had fallen. Couldn't even look at it anymore. I walked back to the elevator in a daze and pressed the button for the lobby. When I got downstairs, I went straight to the front desk. A young woman with a name tag that said Jessica smiled at me brightly. "Good evening, sir. How can I help you?" "I need a room for tonight," I heard myself say. My voice sounded strange, like it was coming from far away. "Of course. Let me see what we have available." She typed on her computer. "We have a king room available on the 5th floor. Room 527. Will that work?" "That's fine." She processed my credit card and handed me a key card. "You're all set, Mr. Peterson. Is there anything else I can help you with?" I looked at her kind, friendly face and almost laughed. Was there anything she could help me with? Could she help me understand how my marriage had fallen apart? Could she help me figure out how to breathe when it felt like an elephant was sitting on my chest? "No," I said. "Thank you." I took my overnight bag and rode the elevator up to the 5th floor. Room 527 was small and plain, with a bed, a TV, and a window that looked out over the Chicago city lights. I sat on the edge of the bed and finally let the tears come. I cried for the marriage I thought I had. I cried for all the times I told Sarah I loved her and thought she felt the same way. I cried for the future I'd planned for us, the kids we talked about having, the old age I'd imagined us sharing. All of it was gone, destroyed by whatever had happened between Sarah and this David person. When I couldn't cry anymore, I lay back on the bed and stared at the ceiling. My phone buzzed with a text message. It was from Sarah. "Just getting ready for bed. Long day of meetings. Miss you. Good night." Miss me? She missed me? While some other man was calling her beautiful and making plans for their future together. I wanted to text back. I wanted to call her and scream at her. But I didn't. Some instinct told me to wait, to think, to plan. Because right now, she didn't know I was here. She didn't know I'd heard everything. I had information she didn't know I had, and maybe, just maybe, I needed to figure out what to do with that information before I confronted her. I set my phone on the nightstand without replying to her text and closed my eyes. But I knew I wouldn't sleep. Not tonight. Maybe not ever again. Tomorrow was Friday, Sarah's birthday. Tomorrow, I was supposed to surprise my wife with cake and flowers and romantic gestures. Tomorrow, she was supposed to feel loved and special. But everything had changed now. Tomorrow, I would have to decide what to do with my shattered heart and broken marriage. Tomorrow, I would have to face the woman I loved and figure out if there was any way to save what we had, or if it was already too late. And somewhere in this same hotel, 2 floors below me, Sarah was probably getting ready for bed, not knowing that her husband was lying awake in a room above her, his whole world crumbling around him. I turned on my side and pulled a pillow against my chest, holding it tight, wishing it was last week when I still believed my wife loved me and our life together meant something. The city lights blinked outside my window like stars, but they felt cold and distant, just like everything else in my life now felt cold and distant. What was I going to do? I didn't sleep at all that night. I just lay there in the dark, staring at the ceiling, my mind racing with 1,000 thoughts. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard Sarah's voice saying those words. "Tom is a good man, but he's so boring," over and over again, like a song I couldn't stop playing in my head. When the sun started coming up, painting the Chicago sky pink and orange, I finally got out of bed. My body ached like I'd been in a fight. My eyes felt dry and swollen from crying. I looked at myself in the bathroom mirror and barely recognized the man staring back at me. He looked older, sadder, broken. I splashed cold water on my face and tried to think clearly. I had 2 choices. I could pack my bag, go home, and pretend I never came here. Or I could confront Sarah and David and demand the truth. But as I stood there, dripping water onto the bathroom floor, a third option came to me. What if I watched them? What if I saw for myself exactly what was going on before I said anything? Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I'd misunderstood what I heard. Maybe there was still a chance this was all some terrible mistake. Deep down, I knew I was lying to myself, but I needed to see it with my own eyes. I needed to know the complete truth before I blew up my entire life. I got dressed in jeans and a baseball cap, hoping to blend in. Then I went downstairs to the hotel restaurant and found a table in the corner where I could see everyone coming and going. I ordered coffee I didn't drink and toast I couldn't eat, and I waited. At 8:15, I saw Sarah walk into the restaurant. She looked beautiful. She was wearing a blue dress I'd never seen before, one that hugged her body perfectly. Her hair was down and curled, and she was wearing more makeup than usual. She looked happy and excited, like she was going on a date. My heart clenched in my chest. She'd never dressed up like that for our breakfast dates. She sat at a table near the window and checked her phone, smiling at something on the screen. A few minutes later, David walked in. He was wearing jeans and a polo shirt, looking casual but expensive. When he saw Sarah, his whole face lit up. I watched him walk over to her table. I watched him lean down and kiss her on the lips. Not a friendly peck. A real kiss. A kiss that lasted too long and said too much. I gripped my coffee cup so hard I thought it might break in my hand. They sat down across from each other, holding hands on top of the table where everyone could see. They talked and laughed, completely comfortable, like they'd been together for years instead of however long this had really been going on. A waitress came over to take their order. I couldn't hear what they were saying from where I sat, but I could see everything. The way David looked at Sarah like she was the only person in the world. The way Sarah blushed when he said something that made her smile. The way they fed each other bites of pancakes and French toast. They were doing all the things Sarah and I used to do when we first started dating. All the romantic, silly, wonderful things that had somehow disappeared from our marriage. I felt sick. Actually sick. I stood up quickly and rushed to the bathroom, making it to a stall just in time to throw up. I stayed there for a while, leaning against the cold tile wall, trying to breathe. When I came out, I washed my face again and went back to my corner table. Sarah and David were still there, still lost in their own happy little world. They were looking at something on David's phone, their heads close together, laughing about something. I paid my bill and left the restaurant before they could see me. I went back to my room and sat on the bed, trying to figure out what to do next. My phone buzzed. It was Sarah. "Good morning. About to have breakfast before another full day of meetings. Hope you slept well. Love you." Love me? How could she text me, "love you," while she was sitting in a restaurant with another man, holding his hand, kissing his lips? I typed back, "Slept fine. Have a good day." I couldn't bring myself to say "love you" back. I spent the next hour pacing my room like a caged animal. I needed a plan. I needed to think. But my brain felt foggy and slow, like it was trying to work underwater. Finally, I decided to follow them. I needed to see more. I needed to understand exactly what I was dealing with before I confronted Sarah. I went back downstairs and waited in the lobby, hidden behind a newspaper like a spy in a movie. At 9:30, Sarah and David walked out of the restaurant together. They crossed the lobby and went outside to the street. I followed them at a distance, keeping my baseball cap pulled low. They walked down the busy Chicago streets, window shopping and talking. David put his arm around Sarah's waist. She leaned into him like it was the most natural thing in the world. They stopped at a fancy jewelry store. Through the window, I watched David point at rings in the display case. Engagement rings. Sarah's hand flew to her mouth, and even from where I stood across the street, I could see tears in her eyes. Happy tears. He was going to propose to her. David was going to ask my wife to marry him. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach again. This wasn't just an affair. This wasn't just some fling or mistake. They were planning a future together. A future that included getting married. Which meant Sarah was planning to leave me. I backed away from the jewelry store and sat down on a bench. My legs too weak to hold me up anymore. People walked past me on the busy sidewalk, going about their normal Friday morning, while my entire life was ending. I don't know how long I sat there. When I finally looked up, Sarah and David were gone. I walked back to the hotel in a daze, not really seeing where I was going. Somehow, I made it back to my room without getting hit by a car or walking into a wall. I lay on the bed and closed my eyes. I needed to sleep. I needed to think. I needed to figure out what to do. But before I could rest, my phone rang. It was Marcus. "Hey man, how's the big surprise going? Did Sarah cry happy tears?" I opened my mouth to answer, but no words came out. My throat felt tight and closed. "Tom? Are you there? Tom?" She's cheating on me, I finally managed to say. My voice cracked on the words. What? No way. You must be mistaken. I heard her, Marcus. I heard everything. There's a man named David. They're together. They're planning a future. He was looking at engagement rings with her this morning. Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Oh man. Tom. I'm so sorry. What are you going to do? I don't know. I don't know anything anymore. Do you want me to drive out there? I can close the shop and be there in a few hours. No. I need to handle this myself. I don't know how. Whatever you decide, I've got your back. You know that, right? Yeah. Thanks, Marcus. After I hung up, I lay there thinking about everything. About my marriage. About Sarah. About who I thought she was versus who she actually turned out to be. I thought about our wedding day, how beautiful she'd looked in her white dress, how she'd cried when she said her vows. Had she meant those words? Or had they always been lies? I thought about all the nights we'd fallen asleep in each other's arms. All morning I made her pancakes. All the times I'd held her when she was sad or scared. All the times she'd said she loved me. When did it stop being real? When had she stopped loving me and started loving him? Around noon, my phone buzzed again. This time it was a text from Sarah. The meeting just ended early. Want to video chat for a few minutes? My heart started racing. She wanted to video chat. Right now. While I was in a hotel room 2 floors above where she was staying. I looked at myself in the mirror. I looked terrible. My eyes were red and puffy. My face was pale. She would know something was wrong the second she saw me. But maybe that was okay. Maybe it was time to stop hiding. I pressed the video chat button. Sarah's face appeared on my screen. She was in her hotel room, sitting on the bed. She looked happy and relaxed. Hi, honey, she said brightly. Hi, I said. My voice sounded flat and cold, but I couldn't help it. Her smile faltered a little. Are you okay? You look tired. I didn't sleep well. Oh no. Are you sick? You look really pale. I stared at her through the phone screen. This woman who I'd loved for 7 years. This woman who was lying to me. This woman who was planning to leave me for another man. Sarah, I said slowly. Are you happy? She blinked, surprised by the question. What do you mean? Are you happy? With me? With our marriage? With our life? She laughed nervously. Where is this coming from, Tom? Just answer the question. Please. She bit her lip, and for a second, I saw something flash across her face. Guilt? Sadness? Fear? Of course I'm happy, she said. But her voice didn't sound sure. Why are you asking me this? Because I need to know the truth, Sarah. I need to know if you still love me. Tom, you're scaring me. What's going on? Do you? I asked again, my voice getting louder. Do you still love me? Yes, of course I do. Tom, what? Don't lie to me, I shouted. Couldn't help it. All the anger and pain I'd been holding in came pouring out. Don't you dare lie to me anymore. Her face went white. Tom, what are you talking about? I know, Sarah. I know everything. Know what? You're not making any sense. About David. About your affair. About the fact that you're planning to leave me. The silence that followed was deafening. Sarah's face froze. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. She looked like a statue, completely still except for her eyes, which had gotten very wide. How? She finally whispered. How do you know about David? So it's true. Even though I already knew it was true, hearing her confirm it made everything more real, more painful. You're really cheating on me. Tears started running down Sarah's face. Tom, please, let me explain. It's not what you think. Really? It's not what I think? Then what is it, Sarah? Help me understand how having an affair is different than what I think it is. I never meant for this to happen, she sobbed. I swear, I never meant to hurt you. But you did. You are. You've been lying to me. How long, Sarah? How long has this been going on? She covered her face with her hands, crying harder. 6 months, she said through her tears. 6 months. Half a year. She'd been lying to me for half a year. Who is he? I asked. Who is David? He's a consultant at work. He was brought in to help with a big project. We worked together a lot and we just connected. You connected? I repeated, my voice hollow. That's what you call it? Connecting? Tom, please. Our marriage was already in trouble. You have to know that. We barely talked anymore. We barely did anything together. It was like we were just roommates, not husband and wife. So that made it okay to cheat on me? That made it okay to lie to me for 6 months? No, it didn't make it okay. I know it didn't, but I didn't know how to talk to you about it. I didn't know how to tell you I was unhappy. So you found someone else instead. Someone who wasn't boring. She looked shocked. You heard that? When? How? I'm in Chicago, Sarah. I came here to surprise you for your birthday. I heard you say all of it. Through your hotel room door. Her face went even whiter. You're here? You're in this hotel. Sarah walked to the door slowly and opened it. David stood there, his face full of concern. Sarah, what's wrong? What happened? Then he saw me standing behind her, and his expression changed to confusion. Who's this? This, Sarah said quietly, is my husband, Tom. I watched the realization dawn on David's face. The concern turned to shock, then to something else. Guilt? Fear? Couldn't tell. You're Tom, David said. It wasn't a question. And you're David, the man who's been sleeping with my wife. David had the decency to look uncomfortable. Look, I didn't know about you at first. Sarah told me that I was boring, that our marriage was dead. I know. I heard the whole thing. David looked at Sarah. You told me you guys were separated. You said you were living in different places while you figured out the divorce. I laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. Separated? Is that what you told him, Sarah? We're not separated. We live in the same house. We sleep in the same bed. At least, we did until she came on this business trip. Sarah's face turned red. I didn't know how to tell him the truth. So you lied to him too, I said. You've been lying to everyone. David took a step back, looking at Sarah like he didn't know her. You told me you were getting divorced. You said it was almost final. You said the only thing left was signing papers. I'm sorry, David. I was going to tell you the truth. I just needed more time. More time. David's voice was rising now. We looked at engagement rings this morning, Sarah. I was planning to propose to you next week. And you're still married? You're still living with your husband. It's complicated, Sarah cried. No, it's not, David and I said at the same time. We looked at each other, and for a brief, weird moment, we were united in our anger at Sarah. David shook his head. I can't believe this. I can't believe you lied to me. He looked at me. I'm sorry, man. I really am. If I'd known she was still with you, I never would have. Save it, I said. You're not the one I'm mad at. Not really. You didn't make any promises to me. She did. David nodded slowly. Then he looked at Sarah one more time. I need to think. I need to figure out if I can trust you after this. He turned and walked out of the room, leaving the door open behind him. Sarah stood in the doorway looking lost. He's leaving, she whispered. Let him go, I said. You and I need to finish this conversation. She closed the door and turned to face me. Tom, I've ruined everything. My marriage. My relationship with David. Everything. You made choices, Sarah. Bad choices. And now you have to live with the consequences. I know. She wiped her eyes. What do we do now? I sat back down in the chair and looked at her. Really looked at her. This person I'd loved for so long. This person I thought I knew better than anyone. I said slowly, I think we need to be honest with each other. Maybe for the first time in a long time. She nodded and sat down on the bed. Okay, I'll be honest. Completely honest. Were you ever going to tell me? About David? Yes, I was working up the courage. I knew I had to eventually. I couldn't live the lie forever. Did you ever love me? Really love me? Or was that a lie too? I did love you, Tom. I really did. When we got married, I meant every word of those vows. But somewhere along the way, things changed. We changed. And I didn't know how to fix it. So instead of trying to fix it, you gave up. You found someone else. Yes, I'm not proud of it. But yes. We sat in silence for a moment. Outside the window, I could hear the sounds of Chicago. Cars honking. People talking. Life went on even though mine was falling apart. I want a divorce, I said. The words felt heavy in my mouth. Sarah started crying again. Tom, please, can't we try to work this out? Can't we go to counseling or something? Sarah, you've been cheating on me for 6 months. You were looking at engagement rings with another man this morning. Do you really want to try to work this out? Or are you just scared to be alone? She didn't answer, which was an answer all by itself. That's what I thought, I said. You don't want to save our marriage. You just don't want to be the bad guy. You want me to be okay with this so you don't have to feel guilty. That's not true, isn't it? Be honest, Sarah. If you could have your perfect world, what would it look like? Would it be you and me working through this, growing old together? Or would it be you and David, starting fresh, having adventures? She opened her mouth, then closed it. She looked down at her hands. That's what I thought, I said again. Tom, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for all of this. I know you are, but sorry doesn't fix what's broken. Sorry, don't give me back the 6 months you spent lying to me. Sorry, don't make me trust you again. So that's it? We're just done. Yeah, Sarah, we're done. She stood up, her whole body shaking. What happens now? Now you go back to your room. You finish your business trip or your romantic getaway or whatever this really was. And when you get home, you move out. You can stay with your mom or with David or wherever you want. But you can't stay in our house. Our house, she repeated. It's not going to be our house anymore, is it? No, it's not. She walked to the door and put her hand on the handle. Then she turned back to look at me. For what it's worth, you weren't boring, Tom. You were safe and steady and reliable. And those are good things. Those are really good things. I was just too stupid to appreciate them. Thanks, I guess. I hope someday you can forgive me. Maybe someday, but not today. She nodded and opened the door. Goodbye, Tom. Goodbye, Sarah. She walked out, and I heard her footsteps getting quieter as she went down the hallway. Then I heard the elevator ding, and she was gone. I sat in that hotel room for a long time, staring at the wall, feeling empty and full at the same time. Empty of hope and love and trust. Full of sadness and anger and relief. Relief. That was the surprising part. Underneath all the pain, there was relief. The worrying was over. The wondering was over. The pretending was over. I knew the truth now, and even though it hurt, at least I knew. I picked up my phone and called Marcus. Hey man, how are you doing? I told her I want a divorce. Damn. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure. It's over, Marcus. My marriage is really over. I'm sorry, Tom. What do you need? What can I do? Nothing. Just be my friend. That's all I need right now. Always, man. Always. After I hung up with Marcus, I looked around the hotel room. I didn't want to stay here anymore. I didn't want to be in this city, in this building where my marriage had died. I packed my bag and checked out of the hotel. I took a taxi to the airport and changed my flight to the earliest one available. 3 hours later, I was on a plane heading home. As we took off, I looked out the window at Chicago getting smaller below me. Somewhere down there, Sarah was probably crying in her hotel room. Somewhere down there, David was probably angry and confused. But I couldn't worry about them anymore. I had to worry about me, about how I was going to put my life back together, about how I was going to learn to trust again, about how I was going to move forward. The flight attendant came by with drinks. Would you like anything, sir? Whiskey, I said. Make it a double. She poured me the drink and smiled sympathetically, like she knew I was having a bad day. I drank it slowly, feeling the burn in my throat, feeling it warm my chest. When we landed back home, I took a taxi to the house I'd shared with Sarah. Our house. Except it wasn't really ours anymore. It was just mine now. I walked through the rooms, seeing everything differently. The couch where we used to cuddle and watch movies. The kitchen where I made her pancakes every morning. The bedroom where we'd slept side by side for 7 years. All of it felt like ghosts now. Memories of a life that didn't exist anymore. I went into the bedroom and opened Sarah's closet. Her clothes hung neatly on hangers. Her shoes lined up in rows. Her jewelry box on the dresser. All of it is still here, waiting for her to come back. But she wouldn't come back. Not really. She'd come to pack her things and leave, and then she'd be gone forever. I sat on the edge of our bed and let myself cry one more time. Not for Sarah. Not for our marriage. But for me. For the man I used to be, who believed in love and trust and forever. That man is gone now. Someone new would have to take his place. My phone buzzed. It was a text from Sarah. I'm flying home tomorrow. I'll pack my things on Sunday. I'm so sorry, Tom. For everything. I typed back, okay. Just okay. What else was there to say? The next day, Saturday, I called a lawyer and made an appointment for Monday morning. I called my mom and told her what happened. She cried with me on the phone and told me I could stay with her if I needed to. I thanked her but said I wanted to stay in my house. It was mine now and I wasn't going to leave it. Sunday afternoon, Sarah came home. She looked tired and sad. I watched from the living room as she carried boxes up to our bedroom. Our bedroom. I couldn't think of it that way anymore. It was just the bedroom now. Took her 3 hours to pack up her life. 3 hours to gather 7 years of marriage into cardboard boxes. When she was done, she came downstairs with the last box in her arms. That's everything, she said. I'll come back for the furniture later, if that's okay. That's fine. Tom, I just want you to know. Don't, Sarah. Please, let's not do this again. Let's just be done. She nodded, tears running down her face. Okay. Goodbye, Tom. Goodbye. I watched through the window as she loaded the boxes into her car. I watched as she drove away, down our street, turning at the corner, disappearing from view. And then she was gone. I stood in my empty house, in the quiet, and realized something. The noise that had shocked me wasn't just the sound of Sarah with another man. It was the sound of my life breaking. It was the sound of everything I thought I knew crashing down around me. It was the sound of the truth, loud and painful and impossible to ignore. But now, in the silence that followed, I could hear something else. Something quieter but just as important. It was the sound of my own heart, still beating, still going, still alive even after everything. I wasn't okay yet. I wouldn't be okay for a long time. But I would survive this. I would heal. I would learn to trust again, to love again, to believe in people again. Because that's what we do. We survive. We heal. We start over. And someday, when someone asks me about the worst moment of my life, I'll tell them about the night I decided to surprise my wife on her business trip. I'll tell them about the noise I heard through that hotel room door. I'll tell them how it shocked me, devastated me, destroyed me. But I'll also tell them what came after. How I picked up the pieces. How I built a new life. How I became stronger, wiser, more careful with my heart. And maybe, if I'm lucky, I'll tell them about the person I met who showed me that love can still be real, that trust can be rebuilt, that happy endings are possible even after the worst beginnings. But that's a story for another day. For now, I stood in my house, alone but not defeated, broken but not destroyed, and I took the first step toward whatever came next. The end. I stood there in my empty house, looking at the space where Sarah's things used to be, and I made myself a promise. I promised that I would never ignore the warning signs again. I promised that I would never settle for a relationship where I felt like I wasn't enough. And most importantly, I promised that I would never lose myself trying to hold on to someone who had already let me go. The road ahead looked long and scary. There would be lawyer meetings and divorce papers. There would be lonely nights and hard conversations. There would be moments when I questioned everything and wondered if I could have done something differently. But deep down, I knew the truth. This wasn't my fault. I didn't make Sarah cheat. I didn't make her lie. Those were her choices, and she would have to live with them just like I would have to live with the consequences. As for me, I was going to take it one day at a time, one foot in front of the other, one breath after another, because that's all any of us can do when our world falls apart. We keep going. We keep breathing. We keep living. And who knows, maybe somewhere down the road, I'll look back on this moment and realize it wasn't an ending at all. Maybe it was a beginning, the start of a better life, a truer life, a life where I'm with someone who chooses me every single day, not just when it's convenient. That night, I made myself dinner. Just me, alone in my kitchen, cooking for one. And you know what? The food tasted okay. Not great, but okay. And okay was enough for now. Because sometimes, okay is all we need to keep going. Thank you so much for watching my story. I know it was painful and difficult, but I hope it reminded you that even in our darkest moments, we have the strength to survive and start again. If this story touched your heart or if you've ever experienced something similar, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss another story. Your support means everything to me and helps me continue sharing these real, raw, emotional journeys. Drop a comment below and let me know what you thought. What would you have done in my situation? Have you ever experienced betrayal like this? I read every single comment, and I love hearing from you. And if you know someone who needs to hear this story, someone who's going through a difficult time in their relationship, please share this video with them. Sometimes we all need to know we're not alone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And remember, no matter what you're going through, you are stronger than you think. Until next time, take care of yourselves, and don't forget to subscribe.